Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me again. My name is Wilkie, and yes, I am a bit overworked, so I might sound a bit different. But nonetheless, I'm back with another Kritika, I guess, guide or sort of explanatory video, where I'm going to be talking about a few things, or a few, I guess, dailies, or daily tasks that I do and that I believe you should be doing if you're 65 and you're starting out the game. Some of these quests or some of these things I'm going to be talking about are applicable even to low levels, but especially the Starhenge stuff is obviously only for 65. Anyway, since we're already in Starhenge, we're gonna start out with, I think the most obvious thing, and those are Starhenge dailies. You unlock these dungeons by completing the, I guess you can call it, storyline quest in Starhenge. So whenever you go to Starhenge the first time, you'll be prompted to run the dungeons multiple times, and after you've done that, these NPCs will start giving you these daily quests. They're also marked as dailies. If you open your quest log, then you'll see that. And the reason you want to do those dailies are two things. First of all, these things will net you keystone fragments, and you need those to craft Starhenge legendaries, which are, at least right now, the best pieces of equipment. I believe within the next 1 or 2 patches we're gonna receive an upgrade, or some new tier even. But generally right now, these are the strongest pieces of equipment in the game, and these keystone fragments will turn into keystones, which you then can use to craft legendaries. And the other reason you want to do these quests is for Ether Force, and that's something, if you press K, you can see that you have a second, I guess, tab, which allows you to spend said Ether Force to boost certain stats. And I highly recommend to put any of your current Ether Force you have, in case you haven't already, just put them into attack, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, this is pretty much all about Starhenge daily quests. Obviously, right now we do have the PvP event, but that's not going to be there forever, so I'm not really covering that. Anyways, other than quests in Starhenge, what I highly recommend doing, there's this NPC called Cerulean, and she's also in Kiesku, I think, but in Starhenge she acts as a merchant, and there are things you can buy from her on a daily basis. Now what I highly recommend to buying every day are the Fixed Hammers, which is around, well, you can only buy 3 of them every day, so this thing resets along with your RP. So these are 18 souls that you're gonna spend. Then the progressive whetstones, I really like buying them to start stockpiling them. You don't have to buy them, but what I really definitely recommend is buying those 300 Reappraisal Scrolls and those Starhenge daily boxes. The boxes alone are 16, with the scrolls you're at 24 souls, and if you buy the 3 hammers as well, you're going to be at 42 boss souls. And keep in mind, for the daily quests you have to run each dungeon twice. In each dungeon, if you farm them with full RP on Insane, are going to net you 8 souls per run. So you can take the math there, but generally you're going to be running 8 dungeons and you're going to be receiving 8 souls per boss. So that's 64 boss souls you're going to be farming every day just by doing the dailies, which is more than enough to buy the hammers, the scrolls, and the Starhenge daily. Now the reason you want to buy the scrolls, obviously, is because you want to start stockpiling that stuff for as much as you can. The reason why you want to buy the Starhenge daily surprise is because this can net you from keystones, which is, I guess, one of the least valuable items, fragments, to full keystones, or even equipment boxes that will give you an equipment. So we're just gonna see what RNG had in store for me. Well, 2 fragments, not too bad. I mean, if you start farming Starhenge, you're gonna be pretty much loaded with these souls, more than you can spend, especially if the beginning, when you start doing the quest and you start building your gear, you're gonna be swimming in these souls. So the next thing that I highly recommend doing, and this is something a lot of people don't know, is that when you're back in Xanadu, you can go to the material collection agent, and she also has stuff to sell. And the most important thing for me again here are the Reappraisal Scrolls. Unlike Starhenge though, you're gonna be using red Mega Boss Souls, which you can obtain by farming Insane dungeons. Anything before Starhenge on Insane, because in Starhenge it's called Extreme. but any insane dungeon will net red Megaboss souls. And for example, if you go for Skyship and you farm it with intrusions, you're gonna get 4 from the boss and 4 from the intruder, so that would be 8 souls per run. And you only need 15 per day, and this is the only thing I really recommend buying. Similar to the stuff we have in Starhenge, if you have enough souls, I also highly recommend buying the Fix-It Hammers and buying the Whetstones. But these are definitely the things that I highly recommend buying on a daily basis, because you can never have enough of these scrolls. And as you can see, I'm starting to stockpiling them. But as soon as I get new equipment, I already have a very decent amount of scrolls lying around, and all I then have to do is start reappraising and potentially already fixing new gear. So last but not least, there are, I guess, 3 daily things that you can do. The first one being the Pve Arena. I didn't do mine today yet, which I already covered in another video, but basically this is a place where you're gonna start farming badges. If you go to the shop, you can exchange these medals for Kaggerfield badges. So that's pretty much the use for that. Also the wings and more badges. And for the last part, where I do my dailies is High Quarter. You don't have to do them there. The reason why I go to High Quarter is because the Temple of Alchemy, I found it the most relaxing, quickest, and easiest dungeon for me to run. Like, the dungeons aren't hard. It's just relatively annoying depending on the dungeon. So what I personally do is I go to High Quarter. I mean, we can just do one run really to show what I mean. There might be a bit spikes here and there because my game is not running too well today, but we'll see about that. It's okay, I guess. So basically, this is the daily dungeon that will net you gems, or soul gems, and yeah, this is pretty much it. That's the dungeon. Did I do my wrong build again? Yeah, I think I have my PvP build on. Shoot. That's why it took a bit longer, but yeah, you get the point. This dungeon is cleared in, what, 16 seconds? And that's where I do my gem dailies. You don't necessarily have to do them there. And once you're done, you're just gonna go to town, and you're gonna be doing the last daily. And since right now it's weekend, while recording, we basically have free choice, and you can access this everywhere but in Starhenge. Starhenge does not have these buttons at the bottom, so if you want to do the daily dungeon, you have to go to another place. And I usually do the scroll ones, because you can also get the recalculation scrolls, and I'm not really having that many lying around, so this is definitely that thing. But generally, as said, just click on every of these boxes, open them, and you can see what's inside, and just do whatever dungeon you need in order to, well, yeah, in order to farm the materials you need. Anyways, this is pretty much all about my daily routine and what I very much recommend doing on a daily basis. I know some of you may not have the time to farm dungeons every time, but if I have to set a priority, is do Starhenge, then do your gem dailies, because these are vitally important, because right now there's no other way to obtain gems other than through the daily. So I highly recommend doing that. And then just start doing all of the other daily stuff that you can do. Once you get a routine in, my whole daily procedure takes me about 30 minutes. And that's when I do everything. I start out, I usually even pop buffs because I know I'm gonna farm for like an hour or two afterwards. And then I usually just start with Starhenge, I buy the stuff. And once you're done with Starhenge dungeons, you're pretty much set. This is what's gonna take the longest time. And other than that, you're good to go. Anyways, if you have any other questions, if you have anything else you might want to play, or not play, but you might want to farm, or you might want to know about the game for free, to let me know. But this is my daily routine, not necessarily the ultimate daily routine that you have to do, but this has been proven very useful for me. And as you can see here, I'm starting to stack on these scrolls, so I should be set for 1 or 2 future items without too much hassle.